Ventral thalamus is the part of the diencephalon. It is the dorsal part of the diencephalon. It lies in the posterior, below the posterior part of the thalamus. This is your thalamus. Below the posterior part of the thalamus, here you have the ventral nucleus, and just it lies behind to the hypothalamus. This is the hypothalamus, it is behind to the hypothalamus. This is the ventral thalamus. Beneath, it is continuous with the tegmentum of the midbrain. It is continuous with the tegmentum of the midbrain. The ventral thalamus mainly comprises of your reticular nucleus and the zona increta. This is the thalamus. Beneath and behind it you have the ventral thalamus. This is the hypothalamus. It is present, ventral thalamus is present just posterior to the hypothalamus. The main nuclei here are the reticular nucleus and the zona increta. Reticular nucleus, it covers the like a thin layer. It covers the dorsal lateral aspect of the thalamus. It covers the lateral aspect of the thalamus like a thin layer, and it is separated from the lateral by the external medullary lamina. यहाँ पे आपके पास होता है external medullary lamina that separates it from the thalamus. Then this reticular nucleus is in turn continuous with the zona increta. Most of the fibers which arise from the thalamus pass via this reticular nucleus. Efferents from the thalamus as well as afferents to the thalamus pass via this reticular nucleus, giving this nucleus a reticulated appearance since the various nuclei pass through this. Then it receives various somatic, visceral and auditory impulses because many nuclei pass via this reticular nucleus. These fibers are GABAergic, and these reticular nuclei, it can also receive fibers from the nucleus cuneiforms of the midbrain. I will again tell you what is reticular nucleus. Reticular nucleus, it is the part of the ventral thalamus. This is your reticular nucleus. It is the part of the ventral thalamus. Ventral thalamus is the part of the dorsal diencephalon, present beneath your thalamus. It is present beneath your thalamus in the posterior part and behind the hypothalamus, continuous with the tegmentum of the midbrain. It has two main nuclei in it, that is the reticular nucleus which forms the lateral aspect of the thalamus. It forms the lateral aspect of the thalamus, separated from it by the external medullary lamina. Fine. Then this reticular nucleus, its reticulated appearance is because of the fibers crossing coming from the thalamus and going towards the thalamus. Then this nucleus receives the somatic, visceral and auditory impulse, and the fibers here are GABAergic. Moreover, your reticular nucleus also receives fibers from the nucleus cuneiforms of the midbrain. Then you have zona increta. Your reticular nucleus is continuous with the zona increta, which is again the part of the ventral thalamus. This is your zona increta. This purple colored ये आपको दिख रहा है ना बड़ा सा, ये देखो ये कहाँ जा रहा है. This is your zona increta. Zona increta has thalamus above and it has thalamus above and subthalamus beneath. Thalamus above and subthalamus beneath. Zona increta is again the thin lamina of grey matter. It is continuous with the reticular nucleus as I have told you. Then it is present between the thalamus above and the subthalamus beneath. ठीक है, thalamus above and the subthalamus beneath. Some neurons along the lower edge of zona increta, they are called as the nuclei of the prerubular tract. This was about the zona increta. This is your subthalamic nucleus, this is your thalamus, and in between the two you will be having the zona increta. Zona increta is continuous with your this reticular formation. Then some neurons lie along the lower edge of zona increta. इधर ठीक है, वो होते हैं नज़दीक किसके, इस रेड न्यूक्लियस के नज़दीक. उनको हम बोलते हैं न्यूक्लिया ऑफ प्रीरूबुलर फील्ड. They are called as the nuclei of the prerubular field. Then you have the fibers passing through the subthalamic region. आपके साथ वी हैव डिस्कस दीज फाइबर्स, क्या क्या फाइबर्स सबथैलेमिक रीजन के थ्रू पास होते हैं. यू हैव एंसा लेंटिकुलरिस, यू हैव fasciculus lenticularis, you have thalamic fasciculi and you have the subthalamic fasciculi. अब ये ansa lenticularis क्या होता है? This is your ansa lenticularis. Can you see the red colored line? This is the ansa lenticularis. Ansa lenticularis ये इंटरनल कैप्सूल के इर्द गिर्द घूमता है. ये आपका ग्लोबस पैलिडस है, घूमा इसके इर्द गिर्द. इट वाइंड्स राउंड द वेंट्रल एंड द पोस्टीरियर बॉर्डर ऑफ द इंटरनल कैप्सूल टू रीच द, कहाँ जाएगा, सबथैलेमिक रीजन. दिस इज़ योर थैलेमस, ठीक है, टू रीच द सबथैलेमिक रीजन गया. दिस इज़ योर एंसा लेंटिकुलरिस, दिस इज़ योर एंसा लेंटिकुलरिस, ये जाएगा टू द सबथैलेमिक रीजन. फिर फाइनली देन यू हैव अदर टाइप ऑफ फाइबर्स, दैट इज़ द fasciculus lenticularis. ठीक है, ये fasciculus lenticularis क्या करेगा, ये करेगा, these are this black colored fibers, again they will go from the globus pallidus to the thalamus, they will again go from the globus pallidus to the thalamus. ठीक है. और अगर आप देखोगे ये है ना आपका ये छोटा सा ग्रीन कलर, ये सबथैलेमिक न्यूक्लियस है, ये इसके ऊपर से इसके साथ होके जाएगा थैलेमस के पास. जो आपका एंसा लेंटिकुलरिस है ये जाएगा ग्लोबस पैलिडस से टू द थैलेमस beneath your subthalamic nucleus. Then your fasciculus lenticularis, it will go from your globus pallidus to the thalamus, just touching the upper part of your subthalamic nuclei. Then comes your subthalamic fasciculus. ये है जी subthalamic fasciculus, blue colored. It connects your globus pallidus with the subthalamic nucleus. It connects your globus pallidus with the subthalamic nucleus, blue colored. So it is present between the fasciculus lenticularis and the ansa lenticularis. Then you have fibers passing through subthalamic region as subthalamic fasciculus, यही जो हमने डिस्कस किया. फाइनली यू हैव अदर फाइबर बंडल, दैट इज़ द थैलेमिक fasciculus. कौन सा वाला? थैलेमिक fasciculus हो गए सारे. अब उसमें कौन कौन सा आएगा? पहले आपका आएगा fasciculus lenticularis, फिर आएगा ansa lenticularis, ठीक है. फिर यहाँ से आएगा डेंटेट न्यूक्लियस से ये ना फाइबर्स, डेंटेटोथैलेमिक फाइबर्स. यहाँ से आएगा रूब्रोथैलेमिक, रेड न्यूक्लियस से ये है आपका रेड न्यूक्लियस. यहाँ से आएगा रूब्रोथैलेमिक फाइबर्स. दीज 4 टुगेदर विल कंप्राइज योर thalamic fasciculus. So you have 4 fiber bundles passing through the subthalamic region. क्या क्या? पहला ही ansa lenticularis, this red colored line from the globus pallidus to the thalamus, passing just beneath your subthalamic nucleus. Then you have the fasciculus lenticularis, this black colored line just passing from the globus pallidus to the thalamus, touching the subthalamic nucleus above. Okay, then you have the subthalamic fasciculus, this blue colored, from the subthalamic nucleus to the globus pallidus, lying between the two, that is the fasciculus lenticularis and the ansa lenticularis. Finally you have the thalamic fasciculus, comprising the ansa and fasciculus lenticularis, plus fibers from the dentate nucleus and fibers from the red nucleus. Then you have the subthalamic nuclei of Lewis. This is the subthalamic nuclei. This is the subthalamic nuclei of Lewis. It is considered as the part of the subthalamus region. Coming to the blood supply of the thalamus. The thalamus is mainly supplied by the posterior cerebral artery. ठीक है, ये जी है आपकी बेसिलर आर्टरी. ठीक है, ये है एंटीरियर सेरेब्रल. ठीक है, यहाँ से जाएगी आपकी पोस्टीरियर सेरेब्रल. ये है पोस्टीरियर सेरेब्रल, ये दिख रही है आपको, ये पोस्टीरियर सेरेब्रल आर्टरी. दीज आर द मेन सोर्सेज ऑफ ब्लड सप्लाई टू द थैलेमस. ठीक है, इसके पोस्टीरोमीडियल ग्रुप होता है और पोस्टीरोलेटरल ग्रुप होता है. पोस्टीरोमीडियल ग्रुप करेगा मीडियल and anterior part of thalamus को supply, medial and anterior part of thalamus, and the posterolateral will supply the posterior and lateral part of the thalamus, but the blood supply is mainly from the posterior cerebral artery. और भी आती है blood supply, कहाँ से आती है? This is your posterior communicating artery, इससे आएगी. Then comes your posterior choroidal artery, इससे आएगी. Then comes your middle cerebral artery, इससे आएगी. ठीक है, इनसे आएगी. एंड दिस विल बी द alternative source of the blood supply to the thalamus. Then you have the hypothalamus. This region is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus को कौन supply करेगा? एंटीरोमीडियल ग्रुप, क्योंकि आगे है ना ये एंटीरोमीडियल ग्रुप ऑफ द एंटीरियर सेरेब्रल आर्टरी. ये आपकी एंटीरियर सेरेब्रल आर्टरी है ना, इसका एंटीरोमीडियल ग्रुप करेगा हाइपो थैलमस को सप्लाई. Then you can have other branches from the posterior communicate. ये आपकी posterior communicating artery है, ये करेगी posterior part को supply of the hypothalamus. ठीक है. I think this much is sufficient for you. Kindly try to revise and just go through the lecture as soon as it is uploaded. I know you are being overburdenized this time, but this is the need of the hour, so please cooperate and work hard. Thank you.